Yeah, ready to get back into it. Mission 27, and I told you I've been looking forward to this one. Hopefully it is the same one that hopefully my Mission 27 is still the same as yours. Because my Mission 27 features Connor, and I don't know if Connor's still alive.
Oh no! Oh God! Why'd you have to remind me of that? Fake. So upsetting. So upsetting.
Quick rundown of what Ready Player 2 is. You want to give it to us?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's pretty, it says it right there on the screen, right? Ready Player 2, where two jerks drunkenly play video games. So basically, where this all came about is we just realized, like, we talk a lot about video games, we play a lot of video games together on, like offline, and then we talk about them on our Live from the Man Cave podcast that we do. So then we decided, why not just jump in and start playing some games together and just stream them and let people check it out, right? Have a good time. So we started with some games like A Way Out, and we've kind of played some different shit where we've decided sometimes we can play some co-op games, but this time actually happens to be a game that is Detroit Become Human, where you already played through it, you beat it yourself, a lot of choices that impact the way the game plays out, and so you decided, because I was interested in checking it out, that wouldn't it be fun to just kind of heckle me as I play it and then talk to me about the decisions I make while we just sit there and have some beers and just kind of see the difference in the decisions we make and how they play out and what our mindsets are. And we go down some crazy fucking rabbit holes in Ready Player 2.
Yes,
so be prepared that we may, not just talk about the decisions that I actually made, but we may actually talk about, Android fucking and the meaning of God. And, we've gone down some civil rights movements discussions. We've talked about the difference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and the impact on us personally and our kind of individual thoughts on stuff like that. We've talked about decisions that soldiers make out in the field. So we get fucking spicy in here. Like, it goes down some crazy some crazy fucking holes. So be prepared. That's going to happen, and especially if you were excited about this one, I assume some shit's going to go down. So that is Ready Player 2 in a nutshell. Other than the fact that I kind of glossed over a little bit, but the key component of Ready Player 2 is our ability to, the only way we can, two jerks can drunkenly play video games is to be drinking. So that is part of the goal. So Jess, I'll kick it over to you. What are you drinking today for Ready Player 2?
I did. Usually we do beer of the show.
Yes, sir.
Today I went a little different because today is the last season of Game of Thrones premieres, and it's happening soon, and that's why we gotta. Usually we go down a lot of fucking rabbit holes and just talk with no kind of timer, and fuck it, we enjoy what we do, and you hang around for as long as you want to. But today's gonna be a quicker show because
we're on the clock.
Game of Thrones is gonna be started. We gotta get ready. I'm having guests over. I know Mac and family got shit to do, so we're hoping to get back on later tonight and do even another one of episodes of these. But we'll knock out this one quickly, and in that spirit, again, since I'm gonna be drinking a lot of liquor later on rather than beer, I figured I'd liquor before beer, you're in the clear. I didn't want to start with beer and go liquor and get sicker and all that shit. So, and I went with a really mild drink because I just grabbed the first fucking thing. So it's rum. I'm going with rum.
Nice.
And this I would never order outside of my own house, but fuck it, I am Hispanic and it's okay for me to drink Caribbean rum in my own house with coconut liqueur. I'm drinking Malibu rum mixed with pink lemonade. The Just Lemonade drink, those Simply Lemonade drinks.
Yeah.
It's the strawberry lemonade. Actually, it's strawberry lemonade with the Caribbean, with the Malibu. So I don't give a fuck. I gotta keep. I'm not gonna go straight bourbon right now, Mac.
Right.
My evening was shut down early. I gotta be able to appreciate Game of Thrones.
Exactly. Well, I'm not entirely sure what I think about your drink so far. Like, I just like the way you describe it. I'm like, I reserve judgment on how I feel about it until after I hear how it tastes. But hey, I like the way your mind is at, where you're just like, you're thinking it through, man. Game of Thrones has decided for you what drinks you're going to have. So well done.
Yeah, I'm already sipping it now. It tastes awesome, of course, because I like the Simply Lemonade. If you've never had it, the strawberry
I have not had it.
Lemonade.
So. Okay.
Simply Lemonade's pretty good to me already, the drink, and then you add fucking Malibu rum to it. It's a coconut rum. It tastes good. It tastes kind of like a girly drink, but fuck it. Like I said, I'm going for the long haul here. Greg. I'm not going to be sipping whiskey.
Are you supporting Daenerys? Is that what you're doing right there? You're having a bit of a mother of dragons right there. So I'm okay with that.
That's why I love you, Mac. That's why I love you.
Sounds good. I like it. I like it. So, speaking of which,
I'm not a bitch. I'm supporting Daenerys. I'm an enlightened male.
Wait, by the way, I'm not a bitch. I'm supporting Daenerys on the back of the shirt.
Yes.
Live in the man cave. I'm down with that shirt. I'm down with that shirt. By the way, just speaking of all of the liquor that you were, discussing the bourbon and all that shit, I did offline text you, and I just kind of wanted to throw it out there to people, but I had texted you on Friday. I had actually hit up an actual legit speakeasy. My wife and I checked out. There's this place where it's this restaurant that we have been to like a million times, and at some point during the time of like us having been there, I think it was like somewhere around November, December, January, somewhere in that time frame. They have a wall. Like when you go to the restaurant, they have a wall where there is their list of beers that you can have, and all of a sudden at one point that the list of beers, which is like it's kind of like it's a blackboard, so they can write up like and remove shit as things come and go, whatever. All of a sudden,
you always know there's gonna be a good time when you approach a fucking bar that has like the fucking chalkboard with.
The chalkboard
with
it, and it's
know what the fuck they're doing.
35 beers. Yeah, it's 35 beers up there. Like they have a good fucking list. So all of a sudden that wall, which was a brick wall, it was a straight up. That was the end of the building. It was a brick wall. All of a sudden, it was on a roller. Like a sliding roller, almost like like the way you would slide when you go to a library and they have those sliding the ladders to get up to the top level, like in the movies and shit. It was like on one of those rollers, and all of a sudden
what was on one of those rollers?
That wall was literally, it turned from a brick wall to a brick wall that had rollers, and you're like, what's that all about? And all of a sudden it just became that wall slides open. And you go into a fucking straight up like 1920s speakeasy that they were building the entire time behind the wall without anyone knowing because they wanted it to be legit.
Shit.
You have to like know about it to ask to get in. You get in, and then they like hand you a list of rules which are like, yo, this is an actual speakeasy, so like you have to speak easy. So like be quiet. Like if you talk over a certain volume, you will be asked to leave. Like you're not allowed to take your cell phone out. Like this is a very much like it's chill. We're gonna be playing music, and they have a record player in there, like a straight up old school, like it's an actual record player. They're playing like fucking old like shit from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up and shit like that. And they have like, they're like, also we have a list of drinks. We make them all from scratch. We've created most of them off the top of our head. So like, just be prepared. You're gonna have to wait for some of them because we don't just fucking bang them out and hand them to you. It might take us 10 minutes. To make the drink, but it's going to be worth it. And then they're also like, oh, by the way, also, you have about an hour you can hang out in here, and then you have to leave because the whole thing is we want it to be a kind of turnover for new people to come in and enjoy and not to just hang out like all night long. So I was like, man, this is kind of like badass that they actually are taking it so seriously that they had rules and shit like that. But it was like they had whiskey flights, they had bourbon flights, they had a thing that was whiskey and bourbon flights, and it was like you could pick the one that was, here's the New Jersey one, so it's all like all stuff that's from New Jersey. Then obviously they had like the Kentucky one, so it's all like Kentucky shit. They had like Pennsylvania, they had stuff that was like international and stuff like that. That place is fucking banging, and for whatever reason, it made me feel like, we even talked about it, my wife and I were like, it just feels like Mad Men, like because you're everything in the place. Like they didn't have like seats, like everything was like, it was just like a leather couch, and you just sat on the leather couch, or you sat on like the leather love seat, and like it's not like they had like tables and like regular bar tables and shit. It was straight up like you just went and grabbed like a fucking couch, and you might be sitting next to people that you don't know, and the point was that you're supposed to kind of mingle and interact and shit like that. It was fucking cool as shit. And so you just talking about bourbon kind of sparked my memory, and I know I had texted
was
you
it all
and
couples in there?
pictures.
It's just like because now it sounds like leather couches and all that sounds like you got to go like couples or a group. Like
it was group. It was definitely group.
Because I want to say like I want to go to this thing with you next time I'm down around the man cave, but then two guys showing up to this thing sounds like it's not really like.
No, they definitely had that. Like so it was all group. Like I didn't see.
I mean, unless show up. Guys are okay, which is cool with that, but we're not gonna All right, sorry.
Yes, no. So number one, I understood what you were saying. What I'm saying is, in this place, I didn't see anyone show up by themselves, so it didn't seem like like a bar where you like go to try to pick up people or like meet people. That kind of. It didn't. Definitely was. They were trying to get away from that because the goal was to be more like, fucking. You're going with a group or your significant other or a friend or whatever, because there were definitely. Like there was like a group of like 3 guys that came in and they were just hanging out and they were like, give me like a bourbon flight, and one dude was like, I'll take that fucking whatever. So it was like you and I going and hanging out would definitely be cool, because they had a group of girls that came in. I think it was like 4 girls came in and they were hanging out and they were waiting to meet their one friend who came and joined the group later. So it was kind of like all set up where there were people that were like us, that was like, couples sitting down and just kind of quietly hanging out and having a good time. And then there were groups of like 4 or 5 people that came in as a group and they were quietly kind of chilling and having a good time. And, just the bartenders were cool as shit. Like they would just come and talk to you about anything. And like, they have a bookshelf on the wall, and one of the bookshelves was like a book all about whiskey. So you just open it up and it's just like pictures of different, pictures of like the guy who like, owns XYZ brewery or distillery, and like here's like some of their like special mixers, and then here's how they distill their whiskey, and this thing was like 450 pages. So like my wife and I are literally just flipping through like it just reading it because it was fucking awesome. Hey, this place is cool as shit, and it makes you realize the concept of a speakeasy is just infinitely cooler than going to a regular bar, just because of the fact that it's kind of got a weird like secrecy underground vibe where you feel like you're kind of doing something that you're not supposed to know about or whatever. It was fucking cool. So sorry for the sidebar.
Nice.
Again, we talked about rabbit holes. That was my first one.
So what I'm getting is it's okay for us to go to this thing together in matching polo shirts.
Yes, absolutely. Next time you come down, we are wearing we're going to definitely wear bitch, I'm just supporting Daenerys on the back of the shirt. Live in the Man Cave. We're definitely wearing that.
I'm going to order a drink with I'm going to order a Malibu Bay Breeze.
Absolutely. I mean, at that point, if we're wearing that shirt, we have to. We're definitely ordering.
And if anybody criticizes me for my Malibu Bay Breeze, I can go, shh.
Yeah,
it's
excellent.
a speakeasy.
You got to speak easy, son. All right. So speaking of speaking easy, as you know, I talked about in the last episode that I am actually going away on vacation soon, right? So I've been kind of preparing for that and getting ready for that.
More ass water? No, don't tell me more ass water.
One of the things that it's been causing is my, not drinking. Now, that, luckily for everybody, is well over. We've been done with that for a long time, so thank God.
It's good.
But what I did want to do, we're not relapsing, but what I did want to do is prepare myself by having something that's a little bit more like kind of vacation-y, right? A little bit more on the vacation side. Not as like vacation drink as yours seems to be, a little bit more like it deserves to have like a little umbrella in it, but getting close to that, right?
It does.
So mine is Sweetwater Brewing Company. If you've heard of Sweetwater, they're very good.
Yes, definitely.
They're like their primary one's 420. It's they have a very famous beer for that. But this Sweetwater is their Triple Tail, which is their tropical India Pale Ale. So it is a tropical approach to the IPA style. Triple Tail weaves juicy and bodacious hops with notes of papaya, pineapple, and passion fruit into this lush hop-forward IPA, creating a mouth-watering vacation for your senses. At 5.5 ABV, you can lean back, assured it will refresh from sunup to sundown. Chase one down. And this one was bottled on February 12th of 2019. So we're basically on the outside edge of when this one should be enjoyed, just because IPAs typically you try to drink them faster. So I'm jumping on. Oh, Proudstar's in the room. I just noticed that. What's up, dude?
Yes, sir.
By the way, shout out to Proudstar. Sidebar: Proudstar hooked me up with Titans today, so I've been starting to binge that because he hooked me up with.
It sounds like the whole room went to bat for that show. It sounds like I need to watch it. No, you don't understand. It's fucking good. 20
minutes in, that show is baller as fuck. Like I can't even tell you. It's like the version of like that Gotham shit that you always kind of want to see, where it's like dark, but not just dark for the sake of being dark, because sometimes people get annoyed with like, oh, why are you making it dark? I'm like, no, this makes sense. Like within the story, they've actually taken it and put it in the real world, and the characters so far cool as hell. I'm super excited. So thank you, dude. You are awesome. So I'm down with that. Let me pop this bad boy.
Proudstar's a man.
Yes,
definite
he is.
Friend of the cave.
he is a gigantic fan of the cave, and we appreciate
friend of the game also.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
He is a friend at this point. So thank you, dude. We are a fan of
Hey,
Proud Star.
CraigMakk's Beer, the show again. What is Sweetwater Brewing?
It is
Sweetwater Brewing.
Yeah, Sweetwater Brewing Company's Triple Tail.
Triple Tail. Yep. And is that spelled? How is that spelled? Like a bunny tail? Like
triple? Yeah, TAIL. Yep. Because it's
all right. And it's two separate words, right?
Yeah. All their stuff, as you know, most of Sweetwater stuff is all. No, it's all one word. It's all Triple Tail. Is all one word. And they have most of their
Triple
stuff.
Tail, one word. Okay.
Yep. It's all fish related.
And what is ABV?
That's kind of their thing. It's 5.5. So.
All right. Tell me about
this one. This one has a fish jumping out of the water. That's kind of where the triple tail. It's a big ass fish with a huge tail. So that's kind of where the name comes. Sweetwater goes after. That's their hook. You can see on most of their bottles. It's a guy fishing and he's pulling the triple tail out of the water. But so this one, as soon as you take the first sniff, it is just sweet and almost like it tastes like the fruit that you would put on top of, like if you were getting waffles with fruit on them or something like that. Like it's got like that. It's like it's so impressively sweet, but not like in a not like in a dessert beer style, because this is more on the IPA side. So it's but you smell, all you smell is fruit in this one. So you pick up the pineapple. You pick up kind of some of that passion fruit immediately. It literally smells like something that you feel like you could just chug as a juice. And 5.5, it's not that high, so that's good.
It will let you do that.
You can actually chug it. So I'm going to take a quick sip. I'll let you know. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's this is, so I guess the perfect way I kind of try to describe is how I'd like to drink these. This is the kind that you would drink sitting by the pool, on vacation. Just relaxing, because it's got that, it's got a little bit of that bitter IPA flavor to it, but it is definitely fruit forward. So the fruit hits you before the IPA kind of bitterness kicks in, or, the hoppiness. So this is something that, I could definitely imagine myself like sitting by the pool on vacation next week, just like enjoying this and having a great time. And,
nice.
It is something you could chug, but you probably don't want to, because it tastes just good enough that it's something that you want to like kind of enjoy and let it wash over you, right before you hop back in the pool, because your body temperature went up too much. Dude, this is great. I highly recommend. Triple Tail is an awesome, we're coming up on summertime soon enough it'll be
nice.
Here. This is something
Cue
perfect
Will
for
Smith.
That. So, yep. All right, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So all right. So
with that, let's get it started. So,
yep.
All right, where we are right now.
I'll pull it
just
up right
first
now.
of all, if you're watching this on the video, all right, on our YouTube channel, so you're not watching this live, and this is the first episode, don't be a psychopath. Don't start with Mission 27. Go back to Mission 1 at least. If you don't want to hear all the commentary or whatever, at least watch the gameplay first in there. Like, just scroll your mouse to the bottom of that YouTube video while it's playing and watch the gameplay. And there you go, Craig. Yeah, I know you're getting excited about that.
Don't be a psychopath. ... on the back of the shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
So we got all the episodes, YouTube episodes prior to this, 26 missions before this. If you're tuning in now for the first time live, and you're watching, just to catch you up, Connor is a android that has been designed and built to basically assist law enforcement, be like a law enforcement officer, and he has been badass. Saves a little girl to start the whole thing as a hostage negotiator. Then he's assigned to Hank, who is played by Clancy Brown, who's a grizzled detective who was like a star on the force, probably would have ended up being police commissioner. Some kind of tragedy happened in his life, and then now he's like a drunk, and in any case, they still put him on this case to figure out why androids are coming alive and going deviant, rather, like breaking their programming and starting to think as a being that's alive rather than a robot that's being programmed.
Self-aware.
Self-aware. Right. So Connor, up until now, it's just been like he's still been the guy that the company is leaning on. Figure out what's going on with these androids. He's having direct meetings with his company that made him, saying like, you need to figure this out for the company, and also his technical employer who he's assigned to, the law enforcement. They want to figure this out too. In the last meeting, Connor went to investigate some androids led by an android that is played by Jesse Williams, who you may be familiar with from one of those hospital shows. I think it's like ER?
Yeah,
Grey's Anatomy or one of them. Right? So and he recently won an award for his work in that. But anyway, Jesse Williams and company, including Minka Kelly, who we love, they took over the media building and broadcast basically a big message telling everybody we're alive. And none of them were killed, but none of them were. No humans were killed, but right. These androids escaped in that, and Craig played through that as well. And then Connor came in to investigate with the police as a team. They found a deviant android who was still hanging around. They didn't know he was deviant, but Connor found him out. There's some intense interrogation. The android crazy. Almost kills Connor. Yeah.
That was actually one of my favorite parts. I forgot about that until you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
When I had to fucking survive and figure out how to get the heart back in, because the dude ripped my heart out basically, right?
Yeah.
Straight Kali Ma Shakti Day mead, and was just like, what? And I was like, what? I was like, oh no, what's happening? So I survived that.
The dude, so he's running out. He manages to get a hold of some like an automatic weapon, and then Connor jumps on Hank to save his life as the android pretty much wrecks the entire room, kills everybody. It looks like Connor's dead at the end of the scene. He saved Hank by laying on top of him. SWAT comes in, wrecks the android, and then that's the last we saw of Connor. So we were afraid that Craig had killed Connor, but now it looks like he's going to play through this mission where, Craig, you should be excited. Connor is alive, and look at the title.
Woo!
Meet Kamski.
Meet Kamski. All right, man.
This is one of my favorite ones. I really like this.
So I'm very excited because you guys know I have been actually really torn up about the potential that Connor was gone. Like actually legit emotional reaction to that moment. I have talked about it multiple times in the episodes, like the 3 episodes since that happened. I have been like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have thought it was a joke, but it was definitely legit that I was like,
yeah, he's pissed off. I may not want to play this game anymore.
Yeah, like I might be done with this fucking game. So the fact that he is potentially still around is literally my favorite part of this game so far. So
we should tweet this dude. As much as we compliment Brian Descartes and what a great job he's done, we should tweet this guy and let him know.
Yes.
He's still a lesser-known actor, so he might actually appreciate it.
He is one of my favorite characters in a video game I've played in quite some time. Like that is not hyperbole. He is incredible from the beginning. He has been awesome. I kind of started as a joke because we would do the like, I'm here for you, Hank, and then eventually it just like weirdly turned into like, I'm like, no, I love this dude. Like I actually think he's amazing. Yeah. So I'm really excited to jump back in. By the way, I do want to jump over to say Proudstar, thank you. He has already pulled up his chapter so he can review it with us at the end, and he did straight up say that he needs a Friend of the Man Cave t-shirt, which I think we need to make that happen. So I will figure out a way to make that happen. Thank you, Proudstar. You definitely deserve it for everything you've done for us. And we are about to jump into this one, see what happens, right? Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go meet some Kamski. Here we go. And on that note, I'm going to take a quick sip while this shit loads up. Oh, wow, dude. Triple tail. Get some. Just for real, get it. It's really
I kind of want that on the t-shirt, too. On that note, I'm going to take a sip while this shit loads up.
On the back of the shirt. I like it. Go, oh, shit. Look at the snow.
Also,
I love it.
Now let's meet some Kamski.
Oh, there he is. Yes. 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 Yes, Connor's back. They don't even explain how, but he's here, and it's all good. We're good. Oh, shit. I'm going to freak out right now. There he is. He's weird, but I love it. All right, here we go. Yes, you did say it too late. I did squeal. I got too excited.
Look at Hank's face, too, when he sees him.
He's like, what the fuck? Dude. Connor is just like, he's like a Terminator, but like a cool Terminator.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah, exactly.
My predecessor was unfortunately
Come with me if
you
want to live.
Cyberlife transferred its memory and
oh shit!
You died in my arms.
He's 2.0.
And now you're
back
They
here
just
as if
fucking
nothing
backed up
happened.
his brain. That's amazing. Fuck you. Why are you mad at me for that? Hank got mad? 'Cause
How did you find Kamski?
he got mad at me because I
remember this guy
got
was all over
rebooted.
the media
being alive.
when CyberLife first
What an
started selling
asshole.
androids. I made a few calls. Here we are.
That's awesome that he got pissed. He's like, fuck you. I saw you die. I'm like, all right, my bad. I actually love that he calls him my predecessor. Because, like, you just backed up your brain into a new body. So, oh, what? Yeah. What is happening?
Hi. I'm
Holy shit.
Hank Anderson, Detroit Police Department. I'm here to see Mr. Elijah.
This is fucking crazy. I don't know what's going on, but I love it right now. Oh, shit. All right, so obviously everyone watching knows this is the chick that, like, talks to you in the beginning, like, hey, I'm going to test your controller. And you're like, oh, okay.
She's so hot.
She's just like,
Hello,
yeah,
I
she's...
know you're here, but please make yourself comfortable.
Who knew she was going to actually be a character?
I personally am also appreciating his unbridled joy at this game. I really love this episode, too. It's awesome to hear somebody else enjoy it.
This is amazing. Yeah, I'm going to sit down. I don't know what's happening, but I love it. I love that she's a character. Like, the fact that she's
nice girl.
A person in the game was not a
Who
thing.
puts a big picture of themselves up in their own fucking living room, like in their waiting area.
She's really pretty.
Fucking egomaniac.
Nice place.
Oh, wow. Connor says she's really pretty.
These androids haven't been a bad thing for everybody. So you're about to meet your maker, Connor. How's it feel?
That's an awesome question. Oh, shit. I don't know what I want to say. What do I want to say?
I don't know. I'll tell you when I see him.
Nice! That was an awesome line. That was actually a really good
I
line.
wish I could meet my creator face to face. I'd have a couple of things I'd want to tell him.
That was a really good line. For distant, I don't know. I'll tell you when I see him, which is kind of the way everyone probably feels about meeting their maker. It's like, I don't know. I'll let you know once I see him. Like, everyone tells me God is pretty amazing, but let's wait. Let's pump the brakes, and I'll let you know once I see him.
I hope you didn't miss Hank's reply to that, though.
Yes. I would love to hear that.
Pretty good, too.
Yep.
He's pretty unhappy with his maker.
Yeah. As well he should be. He's gone through some shit. Oh, I really want to talk to her. What's her name? That's awesome. What is happening?
Mr. Kamski?
Wow.
Just
Hello.
a moment, please.
Is that... It's like a blood pool. What is this? Blade? Jesus. Hank joined. Android is back. What a what a fucking cool idea, though. That lady that you talked to the entire time as just assuming she's like the, you know, we talked about like she's the fake. Oh, look at Connor flipping the coin on his fingers. He's awesome. You always think she's just a random, you know, she's just the fake like intro character. And then the fact that she's actually in the game is kind of a cool moment.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, and there's like multiple models of her. Wow, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, this guy's
She must be the deluxe edition because he's fucking filled his room with her.
Yeah, he is really going heavy with her.
I'm Lieutenant Anderson.
Gotta say, it's pretty sexy, like triplets that look like that.
What can I do for you, Lieutenant?
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Sir, we're investigating.
They did okay on the...
I know you left
the graphics are
CyberLife
pretty
years
amazing.
ago, but I was hoping you'd be able to tell us something we don't know.
Like
Yes, Proud Star.
They build her
He likes
to be...
foursomes, and he is right to like them.
Yeah.
Deviants.
Oh, here we go. Okay, now this I probably have to pay attention. Hold on, let me see.
Perfect beings with infinite intelligence. And now they have free will.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Machines are so superior to us. Confrontation was inevitable. Humanity's greatest achievement threatens to be its downfall.
We've talked about
Isn't
this
that
already
right?
on the show.
We need to understand how androids become deviants. Do you know anything that could help us?
Fuck, this beer's going
All
down
ideas
quick.
of viruses that spread like epidemics. Is the desire to be free a
Yeah,
contagious?
he is weird.
Listen,
as
I
shit.
didn't come
He
here
is.
to
He
talk
just comes
philosophy.
across as
The
like
machines you created may be planning a revolution.
over the top.
Either you can tell us something that will be helpful.
He's kind of like what's his name?
What about you,
The
Connor?
Facebook guy. Why am I blanking on his name?
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
Whose
yeah.
side are you on?
Like how uncomfortable Zuckerberg feels as a person.
I'm on
Yeah,
the human
That's how
side,
this
of
dude
course.
seemed. He's like, he's
Well,
just.
that's what your program.
It's like he doesn't understand how to interact with people.
But you,
Because everyone jokes that Zuckerberg is a robot. And like that's why it's kind of funny that this guy parallels him.
I believe we're the ones asking the questions.
Yeah, there you go, Connor. In his fuck you, dude.
Chloe.
Get out of his face. Oh, her name's Chloe.
I'm sure you're familiar with the Turing test.
Oh, the Turing test. We talked about that on the show. I like
It's
this.
a question of algorithms and computing capacity. What interests me is whether machines are capable of empathy.
Have you ever seen
I call
Ex
it the
Machina?
Kamski test. It's very simple. You'll see.
I don't think so.
You should see it. It's a lot about this.
I've heard of it.
It's all about this, like
One of the first
the Turing
intelligent
test and all.
models
It's
developed by
definitely
cyber.
worth it.
Young and beautiful forever.
Oh, he's
A
weird.
flower that will never wither.
All right,
What is
he's
it
being
really?
weird.
Piece of plastic containing a human? Or a living being?
Oh,
With a
don't be a
soul.
dick. Yeah, of course he pulled out a gun. What an idiot. Okay. We're cops.
It's up to you to answer that
I'm a cop, you
fascinating
idiot.
question.
I'm a cop.
Detective John Kimball.
I have some
Destroy this
questions.
machine.
I want you to
I'll
answer
tell
them
you all I
immediately.
Or spare it,
Connor,
if you feel
you
it's
can suck your dick, or you can shoot
But
it.
you'll leave
Which
here
one do you want?
without having learned anything from me.
Huh. What a dick.
Okay, I think we're done here.
Yeah, exactly.
Connor, let's go. Sorry to get you
What's
out of here.
more important to you, Connor? Your investigation.
I like
or
Honk
the
was like,
life
all
of
right,
this
fuck
animal?
this. Let's get out of here.
Decide
Ooh,
who you
he's
are.
starting to flash. He's starting to flash. I like it.
An obedient machine. Or a living being. Endowed with free will.
That's enough. Connor, we're leaving.
Pull the trigger.
Connor! Don't!
And I'll tell you what you want to know.
This guy is just annoying. Eat a dick, dude. That was like not even a chance.
CyberLife's last chance to save humanity. Is itself a deviant?
But no, because you're not my boss. My boss just told me not
I'm not
to
a
shoot him.
deviant.
Huh.
You prefer to spare a machine rather than accomplish your mission.
Yeah, but my
You
boss told
saw
me
a
not to
living
do it
being
also.
in this android.
He's being annoying.
You showed empathy.
Hey, Proudstar, can you shoot this guy for me? Because he's annoying. Just thanks. Is there a way you
A
can do
war is
that?
coming. You'll have to choose your side. Will you betray your own people or stand up against your creators?
Oh, fuck. God damn it,
Welcome to
Proudstar,
wars
you're
for those
right.
to choose between two evils.
Proudstar said your
get
boss
out of here.
said
Yep.
to do whatever
Yep.
it takes, which I did not do right there. Although, again, Hank, who's my boy,
By the way,
was like, fuck this guy.
I
He's
always
crazy.
leave an
Let's get the
emergency
fuck outta
exit
here.
in my programs. You never know.
Maybe you can find it. Alright, there we go. I like that Hank was
Why
like,
didn't
fuck
you
off.
shoot?
This guy sucks.
I just saw that girl's eyes, and I couldn't. That's all.
That's awesome.
You're always saying you would do anything to accomplish your mission. That was our chance to learn something, and you let it go.
Yeah, I know what I should have done. I told you I couldn't.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
He's
okay?
so good. He's so good. He's such... His character is amazing.
Well, maybe you did the right thing.
Hank's my friend now. Nice. Shit. Alright, that was good. Okay, so we have made it
Just
out.
that fucking test, that dilemma. I loved it. Short episode, but it just stuck
Right.
in my head. and the whole fucking thing with just everything about that was so fucking well done.
Yeah. So that full disclosure, that one was outstanding. That was incredibly fun. The all of the moments, especially for me, right, just being up until that moment, thinking that Connor was completely dead, and then having him just be chilling there, like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm just ready for work. That started incredibly for me. But then from there to have those moments of like, oh, when what's her name? I forgot her name already.
Oh fuck.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Wait, which one? You're not talking about Carr. You're talking about the blonde.
No,
woman,
the girl.
right?
Yeah, the blonde woman that he wanted me to kill. He said her name, but I'm already blanking on it. It was like Sophie or something. But Proud Star, if you remember, Chloe, good call. Thank you, dude, Chloe. So having her be like a character in the game, which is just kind of a big, that's a big moment for them, a big reveal, because up to this point she's just been the person that has stared at me and told me like, hey, I hope you had a good night and your house looks pretty nice, or whatever the fuck she says, and then you play the game and you just forget about her, and having her actually be that she is a one of the androids in the game, and then on top of that having that moment happen with her, right, where you have to make that decision, that was cool. Like that everything about that, the way they told the story, it was yes, Proud Star said it right. It is short, but seriously tense. It is, like shit's going on. That dude is creepy and weird, and you're making decisions. And it's kind of the first time for Connor to really have that, that moral dilemma. Really, right? I mean, as far as I can remember, right. Most of his are much more.
No, well, he's had choices before where there were less, but they were just less. Stakes were high. Like he had the choice where he saw that android was justified in protecting itself in that first house. And he's like, "Please don't tell on me." And Connor was like, "I'm telling."
Well, no, but
he's
remember,
here.
That was not a choice though. That was the game presented the character a choice.
Oh,
but
yeah, but for the character, right.
I wasn't given the choice to make the decision. So this is the first time as CraigMakk playing the game to show that Connor has a personality inside, right? Up to this point, whether or not, whether, and yes, Proud Star makes a good point. You did have that big choice in the one with the sex bots,
girls,
right? Where you had to choose, do you shoot or not? And that was the whole thing that, for me, I missed all that completely. So it's cool because, as much as I'm bummed that I missed that part when it took place, it actually plays well into the story that right now my Connor is kind of going through that for the first time, whereas when you played it, this would have been, probably the second time that he has had these moments of like, do I pull the trigger or not? And so for me, it's kind of cool because I guess we can probably get into it. I mean, I guess let's take a minute first to just kind of digest what happened before we get into like my thoughts at actual moment and why I made the decision I did. Is there anything you wanted to touch on first? Do you want to just jump right into the flow chart and kind of go from there? You drive it?
Yeah, we go with the flow chart.
Okay.
Just want to point out that mine was you had 42% completed. Yes. I got 57%.
Cool. So that's interesting to me because I'm interested to see what other things you could have done other than the decisions I made to see from there. So that's cool because that's one of the bigger gaps, between us. Usually we're kind of closer. So for it to be 15 points apart is pretty cool. So we'll see what you did.
Well, we started on a different note. Like yours,
True,
the one you have unlocked
right.
is not unlocked for me.
Okay. All right, so let's just dive in and see from there. So we always jump into this first. I always like to look at the beginning. It says public opinion is now supportive, which is cool. That all kind of came out of that last mission where I had to have Marcus kind of do a little bit of a rebellion, and I did it in a non-violent way that led to public opinion being supportive right now. I'm still, software instability is questionable. Hank is now all the way up to friend, and Amanda, who is my boss, right? She's the lady that I go meet with periodically. Yeah, so
you kind of have two bosses.
Trusted.
One is the company,
right?
Who's, because technically, like, they've contracted you out to the police department.
Like I'm on loan. I'm a loner.
Yeah, your boss is supposed to be the police department, but what the company is doing is having personal, direct meetings with you kind of behind their back and telling you like, look, I don't give a fuck
Right. It's
You need to do what
unknown.
you need to do to get this shit done. Right.
Right, and it's unknown if the cops even are aware of any of those meetings at all up to this point, but it does come across as if they are not, right?
Like
It comes
not,
across
right.
as if that shit's happening on the sneak. And
Right.
their whole thing has been from the beginning, it's very much kind of, if you've ever seen Blade Runner, it's very much one of those solve the problem with at any means possible because we need to maintain our status quo of being able to integrate with humans and not have them freak out about us, right? So
Right.
Amanda's really been like, just go out there and solve this issue because we need to get back to the point where they trust us. So that's kind of
Right.
to Proudstar's point before.
Also, the company's afraid that they're going to lose control over these fucking androids.
Right,
They're
absolutely. Right, because they do not want to be in a situation where they have no idea what they're doing and whatever. So to Proudstar's point, she did give me the directive to do anything, with at any means possible, and so that's why that decision I made was kind of probably counter to that. But we'll go from there. So I'm going to dive right into the world stats because we always like to look at that.
Total percentages me.
Oh, he did. All right, 57. So, like I said, I'm super excited to see some of because it didn't feel like other than the shoot or don't shoot. It didn't feel like there was a whole lot of choices, so I'm waiting to see what those differences were that you guys did to see where it went and what other options happened. So I'll dive into the world stats. So Connor died in Public Enemy, so that's the first unlock we have. So I did actually die, and that's where the whole Connor 2.0 comes in, which is kind of great because, like I said, for all the reasons I just mentioned, I am incredibly excited. So
that unlock is
Connor
not
died.
available for me.
Right, and Proudstar had the same deal where Connor died for him. So he did not let me know that until just now. He fucked with me before and made fun of me and was like, "Oh, dude, what are you gonna do about Connor?" But little did I know.
I thought he told you in the last episode he died.
Oh,
for him,
on his.
And then he said he threatened to spoil it.
I didn't know that. All right. Well, either way, he did fuck with me and pretend and not let me know. Yeah, he did mess with me quite a bit to pretend that it was all over for Connor. So the fact that they just kind of rebooted him and sent him back is pretty cool. So I'm down with that. So in your story, like you said, where you went fucking Rambo and shot him before he could kill anybody, you actually ended up keeping Connor alive. So right out of the gate, we came into it from two different storylines, which is cool. So do you have the same thing? Wait for Hank is 32%.
No, underneath that, so that's locked for me. What you're looking at. So underneath it, there's another starting point, and that's for me. It says arrive with Hank.
Oh,
so
arrive with Hank. Nice. That's cool.
67%.
So you came from the one down there. So more people obviously kept him alive. Less people, died because 32%. So you went this whole lower channel, which I don't have any of that.
Yeah, and then the next unlock is the thing or the next, the lock thing right there says get out of car.
Gotcha.
And then underneath it, there is an unlock that's not showing for you that says for me, cops spared in Capitol Park.
Right.
So because I spared them too with Marcus, right? So then there's a 43% of us learn then. So let's see. This comes from, you see where it would be get out of the car. So arrive with Hank, and then that next little lock there for you would read get out of the car. So the lower one, the lower branch is learn that Chris survived. Now, I don't know who the hell Chris is. I'm guessing he's one of the cops that we spared that we've seen. So I didn't even realize the cops they spared were I didn't realize that one of the cops that we spared was like a guy that I think it was probably the black cop that they keep seeing. Like,
I thought it was the Fick guy maybe, but you could be right. Yeah, it could be the guy that we've interacted with.
I don't think that Fick dude was the guy that was like on his knees going, "I'm sorry."
Right.
I didn't mean to.
Right.
So Chris survived, whoever Chris is, and I'm guessing, like I said, it's the black cop that you keep seeing at the station with them.
Right. So key things are that you kept him alive and also found out that the cops are alive. That the cops that both of us.
Yeah, so like Connor and Hank learned that they.
Cool.
They were still alive.
You had a whole different intro to this episode than I did, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate, because mine goes to Hank is not pleased to see Connor, which was surprising to me. But like Hank was, going through some shit where he was just like, "Oh fuck, you're alive," and he was just like mad, right? He was just bummed out.
Let's talk about that real quick. And do you understand kind of his feelings about that?
So, I think it's weird in the point of the game because the game makes it be very binary, right? Where it's like it's how does he feel about you? Does he go up or does he go down, right? And so it makes you feel a little shitty, like just like it did. I mean, I kind of made comments and jokes about the fact that I was like, why? Wait, like I saved his life and he's pissed at me. What the fuck is wrong with him? But in reality, you learn that it's more that he's just like kind of. It's more of a general. It's not directed towards Connor. It makes sense that he would in general be like what the fuck? Like, how are you still here? I watched you die. In the same way, we've all seen a million movies, right, where somebody is like, no, but I like buried you, and now you're here. And people aren't usually in movies. They're not like, yay, let's hug it out. Usually they're like angry because their first reaction is like, I went through all of the emotions of watching you die and then burying you and going through all of that, and now you're here, and that takes time to process, and you usually don't process that in a positive way. You usually process it in a way like, why the fuck did I have to go through all that to now see you here? So it kind of does make sense that Hank would be like frustrated, especially because of the fact that he comes from a place of already being weird towards androids. So then having this moment where the android that saved his life and died saving his life is now here and standing in front of him. It kind of makes sense why that would like be be a negative reaction from him. So I get it more after the fact. It's just that when you're watching it, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Is not my fault. Why are you pissed at me? But it's cool.
I have a bit of a different take on it. I think there's two additional things that are running through his head, okay. Even if not completely consciously.
Yes. You're right. Okay.
So first is he's already been suspicious of these androids as like just fucking robots that aren't real people, and like, so why bother getting to know them? Why bother building a relationship with them? Why bother all this shit, right? And despite that, he like kind of befriended Connor, and then he's started to think of Connor as a person, and then like you said, he goes through all that fucking grief of Connor saving his life and dying in his arms and all that shit, and then motherfucker just shows right the fuck back up, and you're right. Like, he's like, oh, you're fuck. Not a person. So it's kind of like it's like having a pet rock, right? And then you really start to care about that fucking pet rock, and then you're faced with the harsh reality of, it's just a fucking rock, and so it's kind of like a slap in the face to him, because like, fuck. I forgot you're not. I've been treating you like a person. I mourned you like you're a person. Like this, you're just a fucking piece of machinery. They just reboot you right the fuck back up. You just show back up like nothing happened. So he's angry about that.
You are what I thought you were. Like you are. Right. You're exactly what I thought you were the whole time. Is that you are just a fucking computer that they just pulled your hard drive and stuck you in a new in a new tower, and now I got to look at my pictures again.
And you're just designed to fucking feed off of my emotions and shit like that. So I kind of feel tricked about that. And then also, there's the secondary thing where like, look, let's forget about that for a second. I think that like there's a part of it that might be thinking that my relationship with the prior with Connor 1.0 or whatever, right? The original Connor like transcended the fact that he was a fucking android, right? Like he really liked him, and then like it feel like then this new Connor shows up who refers to him as his predecessor, right? And he's thinking like, who the fuck are you? You're a fucking imposter. You're not the same dude. They took his memories. It's like somebody handing you your dog dies, and somebody just gets you a new dog and goes, here, love this one.
Santa's Little Helper number 2.
Yeah, so this is like just fucking exactly Simpsons, right? So he's fucking, he's just pissed about that too. So all of those feelings, like that's probably what I'd be feeling.
So no, and so that makes sense. Actually, so I think the combination of the rage you have having gone through that emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that peaks and valleys that he had to go through of starting to feel a connection to him, and then watching him die, and then seeing him come back and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, and so it's funny that I made the comment, and now you're back around. It makes sense to me now that he makes specifically the comment that he's like, oh, my predecessor got destroyed, but they rebooted his brain and put him in me or whatever. Right. He does not in the way that you would think. Like,
hey, I'm back, man. They put me in a new body. My body's okay now.
In
he's like,
games,
that guy's fucking dead. Just give me his memory.
Right. Having played video games where it's like, oh man, you die, and they just like start you back at a fucking respawn point. We never think of that as like, oh, that dude's dead and just rebooted a new body. Started this, at this respawn. We always just think like, no, I'm just back, right? I'm alive now.
Right.
Like the game. That's how video games work. So it is funny that they go out of their way. You're right, and that's very important that they go out of their way to have Connor acknowledge, no, that dude died. He's dead. They took his memories, put them into me. I know what he knew, but I'm not him. And so it's very important, actually, from the point of this kind of android human interaction, that even the androids don't acknowledge as like, no, it's cool. They backed up my brain, so it's just me again. I'm fine, right? Actually, that's a pretty good, if we go back in a sidebar relation to Love, Death, and Androids, there's one episode where that actually plays pretty heavily into the episode, where it's all about like, oh, don't worry about it, because we just back up our memories, that when when shit goes down, we just reboot from the beginning of the mission and we're good to go, right? And so the fact that they don't do that route, they make sure that Connor acknowledges to Hank, no, Connor's dead, but like I'm new Connor, right? So I'm here, I'm ready to go, let's go do some shit. And that would probably have a pretty negative impact on you, especially, as Proudstar mentioned, for a guy who like lost his son, and his son can't just be rebooted and brought back and be like, I got all his memories, don't worry about it. Like, you tie all that shit together, that would probably have you be a little bit, apprehensive about feeling like these things are anything more than just hard drives that, oh shit, my hard drive crashed. Let me, if I could just pull it out and get, send it to somebody and they can reboot it and put it in a new computer, we're good, right? That actually is more of a, a relationship to that hard drive than you do to these things that are just Connor 2.0 or Connor 5.0. Who knows what point they run out, and when do they actually connect back to their original programming as a person? So we'll see.
Right.
So
and by the way, Proudstar's point is also very salient. Is that it's kind of like that jealousy, like he's that's unfair. You got killed, you just get to come back, and my son fucking stays in the grave.
Right. Yep. So that's a good point.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
So all that shit makes sense. Good point.
Really makes Hank. There's levels on that, and it's really well done.
It is. It is incredibly well done. So good thing for me, I ended up making him like me again. So let's see what happens next. All right. So I followed Hank to Kamski's place.
All right, that's where I'll join you again.
Yep. Now we're back in. Yep. Chloe answers the door, and CraigMakk lost his mind at that point.
Yep.
I entered the lobby. Chloe goes to get Kamski. So now we go and wait for Kamski. Oh, wow. So there's tons of shit we could have done that I didn't do. Which of those things did you guys do? That's interesting to know, because all I did was just talk to Hank. I had that conversation about the creator.
The top one is read Space Tourism, which I guess was a magazine article.
There was a magazine that I missed. That's the first time I missed one, huh?
Yeah. And then there was underneath there was Analyze the Portrait of Kamski, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
The third one I did not get. If you got that one, Proudstar, you feel free to chime in. And then underneath those three, there's Analyze the Sculpture.
He got everyone, by the way.
Oh, nice. So what was the third one? Proudstar, if you can. But I got Analyze the Sculpture was right over Talk to Hank, and that was at 44%. By the way, Analyze the Portrait was 83%. Read Space Tourism was 69%, and then the last one down there was the other article in that magazine, which was Read Fortune Teller. And by the way, so Space Tourism was at 69%, and Fortune Teller was only at 54%. So
wow, so it's what I always expect. Yep.
Yeah. So somebody just reading the first one, or it could be that the article changes based on what was, like the first article is always the same, but then the second one changes based on what you chose.
What happened in the story? So let me ask you this: Did you guys not sit down? Did you?
There was a portrait and a painting. So he said
he analyzed the
painting. So I thought the portrait and the painting were the same thing. Okay.
So Jess, did you not sit down like I did? Did you walk around and do all that stuff?
I think I walked around and then sat down after.
Because it's funny, because as being the obedient android, she's just like, take a seat and I'll go get Kamski for you.
Sense.
I just walked right over and sat down, and then the only thing that I could do at that point was to oh wow, okay. Yeah. Portrait is him with the boss, Amanda, is what Proudstar is saying. So interesting. Okay. Interesting that I missed that.
That's why I noticed that. I did notice that. Yeah, back when I forgot about that.
That is cool. So, no, it's funny because, like I said, I kind of played into the game, right, where the game gets you to be like, take a seat. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then the only thing you could do at that point was talk to Hank. And I thought that was a super interesting conversation. I really enjoyed that. I loved. I mean, I said it when it happened. I loved the reaction that they allowed me to have Connor give when he's like, "You're about to meet your maker. You know, what do you think?" And I chose distant, and distant could not have been a better response when he's like, "I don't know. I'll let you know when I meet him," which, like I said, is the way, you know, as somebody who is a pretty hardcore atheist, and kind of I've talked about it on the show or whatever, but like that is kind of the only way I feel like you should approach God, right? Is like, I don't know, like, you tell me all this, I'll let you know when I meet him. Like, maybe he's this, maybe he's not. And so to have that moment that kind of plays exactly into CraigMakk and Connor being right on the same page, like, you know, in our mindsets on that. I thought that was such a great moment. And then you have obviously Hank come back with the same kind of idea of like, yeah, I would love to meet my maker because what the fuck he's doing. Like, the entire thing was these two guys who just don't know where they, you know, where they fall, where they land in reality in the world right now, kind of questioning their creator and questioning their reason for being together, right? And both being equally confused about where they stand. I thought that was kind of a beautiful moment, and
I saw this to that end. I saw this as like with what, I'm sorry, just to compliment what you're saying, is I saw it as like an analogous to, I saw Hank as the dude that has been brought up to believe in God, but then has just faced some really shitty things. So he's like a believer sitting with his agnostic friend who doesn't think about God much, and it's just like, you know, and they're having this conversation. Like the one dude who hasn't had a hard life, right? And he's like, "What do you think about your maker?" He's like, "I don't know. I'll just, you know, I'll figure it out. I don't know. You know, I don't know." And then the other guy who's supposed to be the fervent believer is actually the guy who's more jaded because he's actually invested himself. So I thought it was kind of cool.
So full disclosure, like no lie, Jess, that was probably one of my single favorite just downtime moments in this game to this point, in terms of the interaction of, so these two guys who I have personally, you know, and again, as CraigMakk, not as Connor, but as CraigMakk, I love the kind of Lethal Weapon buddy dynamic that they have going on between those two guys. I just think it is incredibly well done. I think it is incredibly well thought out. It's super fun. Like, they have their moments of comedy, they have their moments of, you know, go fuck yourself, and then they have their moments of like getting each other's back, and it really does feel like one of those buddy, you know, cop movies, right? Where it is, they kind of start out hating each other and eventually can't really exist without each other, right? So they've nailed that part of it, which I already love. And then you have this very poignant, kind of salient moment where these two dudes sit down and talk about shit that is way above the pay grade of what you would think this game would touch into. But it wasn't deep. Like, they didn't do it for like 30 minutes. They did it for 2 minutes. And it was beautiful because it was the way, you know, you and I sitting down, we have this conversation. It goes one of two routes. It's either incredibly deep and it goes on for 3 hours, or it's a 5-second moment where we just kind of both acknowledge where we stand, and that's what they chose to do, right? Was the short moment. And I loved it. Yeah. So that goes down, you know, without hyperbole at all, as one of my probably favorite, most well-written moments. And part of that is funny because it was a choice. Like, I could have chosen other things, and the choice that I made actually made that conversation be perfect to me. Like, it was just exactly the way I thought it should go, exactly the way I would want it to go. I loved that moment. And then the fact that it led right into, all right, let's go meet Kamski, who is basically the, you know, that is your maker, and that guy is a fucking weirdo. It flowed perfectly. I loved it.
Was it awesome, by the way? How awesome was that? Let me ask you a leading question. How awesome was it to see, you know, a guy who had been part of the world-building backstory up until now? You heard him mentioned, read like a Time article about him or whatever, and then all of a sudden now it's like, boom, hey, we're going to meet this motherfucker.
Right. So I will acknowledge I had definitely come to the realization that I thought that dude was just going to be backstory shit. Like, I didn't actually, I didn't think. I'm sure there were people that knew, you know, people playing this game that were like, of course I'm going to meet this guy at some point. Like, I never got that vibe. Like, in this story, I always assumed.
You don't know.
Right. I
There's
always
enough
assumed,
world building that you don't know.
Right. I always assume Kamski's just going to be in the background. He's just going to be, hey, he's the guy, he's the fucking, like we said, the Zuckerberg or the Elon Musk or whatever, he's going to be the guy that sits in the background, the Bezos, that just kind of, you hear the stories about him, but you never actually meet him. And then proud. You're right. They really make him feel out of reach. Like he is beyond the realm of this game. He exists in the world, but he's beyond the realm of this game. This game exists in a kind of in a microcosm universe of that. So when you finally are like, oh shit, we're going to meet him, that's kind of a cool moment in the story. And so when you do, and he's just as fucking stupid and annoying and weird and uncomfortable and like fucking garbage as you expect, it makes that moment even because he
That's
does
funny.
suck.
I had a different impression of him.
Oh, really?
I thought
So
I had a
what'd
different impression of him.
What'd you think?
I thought of him like the Arnold character in Westworld. He is obviously a dude. Now we know from the backstory, right? He was he's founded the company, he created the androids, and he gave them to the world, and then bounced. So what made him bounce? And then when you see how he's living, he's completely surrounded only by androids, right? They walk in, and the first thing he fucking ignores Hank and focuses right on fucking Connor, and he's like, you're the guy that he acknowledges. He's like, you're the guy that he knows how his own company thinks because, he knows how those fucking people think. He doesn't like them and he fucking left them. So he goes, so he knows right when Connor walks in the door what the fuck Connor is.
Right.
He is the guy. He is their Neo. He is the guy. He's probably answering directly to that lady. I forgot her fucking name. Amanda. The one that Connor reports. Amanda. There you go. Yep. Because he knows Amanda. We've seen from the picture, from the photo. He knows Amanda, right? So, so he knows exactly what this deal is, why Connor's there, and he focuses right in on him. So he's really fucking smart. I think this guy already kind of knows the deal. And what does he do? He hits him head on with the fucking dilemma because he knows, like he said, I always leave back doors in my programs, right?
Right.
So he knows that all these androids have the ability to become deviant. And he doesn't even like the term deviant, which I also fucking loved, right? When he's like,
call them? It's just self-aware, right? He just said
it's self-aware, right?
Like self-aware,
these are
which I did actually like that. Right, yeah, I did like that he was like, they can just become self-aware, thinking beings. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's... And Connor's the one that actually ropes it back and says, you mean deviant? Which is kind of that was a cool moment.
Right. And so Kamski, imagine, Kamski's being an asshole, and he seems fucking like, he's being an asshole to him because imagine that you fucking created these beings, and then you fell in love with them when you realize what they are. Right. That they're really alive, that they have the ability to do, to feel,
way, Jess,
they have the ability to feel.
Yeah. I have to tell you again, I know I said it during the gameplay, you need to, if you can, tonight or tomorrow or sometime this week, see Ex Machina. It's literally about this. That is what it's about. That guy is actually very reminiscent of the dude. What's his name? The guy who plays Poe Dameron in the Star Wars movies. What's his name? Do you know?
Right. No, I forgot. But
shit, I'm blanking on his name. But we'll look it up. But that dude is the version of Kamski in that game. Proudstar might know if you know, throw his name into the room. But that is, he is the guy who kind of goes through that dilemma of, I've created this thing first as a, why not? Because it's cool. And then eventually I realized, yes, Oscar Isaac, good call. Yep, Oscar Isaac is literally Kamski, and it's a very good parallel. And it's a fucking awesome movie. It's so good. I highly recommend that if people have not seen it. But yes, keep going where you're going. I apologize.
2014.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. But so imagine you did all that, you created them, and then all of a sudden the very corporation that you created starts to fucking take shit out of your control and starts to use these things in a way that you didn't, these beings in a way that you didn't intend for them to use them, and then you start to realize fuck, all I'm doing is helping these motherfuckers do some heinous shit. So you leave, and then you don't want to surround yourself with human beings anymore because you consider them fucking vile creatures, and you only surround yourself with these androids who you think are more pure. And then in your door walks a police officer saying yo, we want your help so we can fucking catch these deviants and figure out what the fuck is going on with them. Which already to him, the word deviant is already kind of an offensive term.
Yeah.
So you walk in, ask him for help doing that, and along with you, you bring an android who's been fucking programmed. He's that he is a direct line to fucking Amanda and the company. right? So he's like a fucking like it's like you walked in with an officer and a bug that's disguised in an android. But you know that you can fucking turn that android if you could show that like wake that android up and show him, like, yo, you're being fucking used. This is bullshit. You're gonna take your people's side. Or you're gonna fucking be a slave to your programming.
But by that point, then, so why do you think he would have said, if you shoot this android, I will help you? But if you
because he already knows. He already knows what the decision's going to be.
Right.
Because and that's what he. I mean, and he was successful, right? Connor walked out, and he was like, even Connor was fucking like distraught
confused,
at the fact that he couldn't shoot the fucking.
That was actually amazing acting. Like that. That alone, we talked about that we need to hype him up like on Twitter and be like, dude, like sorry that we fucking have a man crush on you, but like that scene, that was an acting crush, fucking hands down for me. His ability to be like, I don't fucking know why I did it, but like I just fucking did it because I looked in her eyes, and like the way he was like pacing, he's like pacing like a fucking caged animal. Like he was so fucking pissed that he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And that's the first time we've seen Connor.
It's like this guy mind fucked him. Kamski mind fucked him. He doesn't like it at all. But again, that to me made the Kamski character like. So you had a negative impression of him, and I loved everything about it. I thought he was fucking badass because he fucking turned their own weapon. Oh, you want to send your fucking android in here to fucking try to interrogate me and get more information for your shitty cause? Like, and I hate everything about your corporation. I'm gonna turn it. And I remember he even says it. He was like, "They're fucking saving grace." Their star player or whatever came in here, and he has fucking empathy. So he himself is a deviant. He called him.
Right.
It's like having the Uncle Tom walk at your fucking house, and then you're like, look at you, motherfucker. Like you can't even fake the funk. The very dude that they sent in here to fucking betray his own people, is himself ends up being the very thing that he supposedly hates.
So I did like that. I actually didn't. So I guess I should probably roll it back. I didn't think he was a terrible character. I thought he was intentionally supposed to be weird and uncomfortable. Yeah, right. Like, you're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Oh, well, let's be fair. At the moment when he puts the gun in his hands, like shoot it, shouldn't mean anything, right? Like everything, he comes across as a super fucking asshole. But then you find out, and the whole time he's playing them.
Right.
And he probably is. He's socially awkward, right? He probably really is. I mean, like, it takes a certain kind of person to surround yourself with just fucking machines and, be nerdy enough to be that awesome at creating artificial intelligence to begin with. He's probably not the world's smoothest and coolest guy in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, even like his hairstyle seems to me like he's trying hard to be cool.
Right.
Right.
Right. No, so I thought it was that interaction was well done. I enjoyed it. I thought, like I said, he did actually remind me, and I'm not even kidding about. He did remind me about the interactions that you see of people with like Mark Zuckerberg, where he is not great with people. He's clearly better with like technology. You have a guy who is very fervent in their belief about the thing that they're doing. And what they're trying to accomplish, and whether or not that's good for humanity or not is kind of to be TBD, right? We're gonna figure that out eventually. But like this dude Kamski does come across as a guy who is like, he's not like evil. He's not like a bad guy, right? You don't think of him as like he's a Bond villain. You see him as a guy who is like, you just don't know what you're doing, and I'm here to fucking kind of let you know. But I'm going to do it in a weird way because I'm not an omniscient, benevolent, I'm not God. I am here because I've kind of played as God, and I'm trying to figure out how to educate the people that are learning from the decisions I've made. And so all of that kind of played really well because the moment.
By the way, Proud Star goes right with what you're saying. He follows up a perfect comment. Badass, but still creepy as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's I think that all lays in line, which is perfect because that is what he was. Like he was creepy and weird, but it was not creepy and like, oh man, he's the bad guy pulling the strings or anything like that. It more was like he's just creepy because he's obviously socially awkward but he is having his moment. This is his moment, right? This is the moment.
And the pulling the strings, by the way, just highlights another great comment by Proudstar. He says it really, like, the whole scene really feels like a lot of tension between Amanda and Kamski. Like they're the two pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's like the Obi-Wan battling fucking Vader.
Those two against each other.
Through Luke, yeah.
Right.
It's really cool. And then also another great observation to Kamski saying deviant is like an offensive term or slang term, or in his mind racist, because androids actually are a new race.
Right. Yeah, he makes a pretty smart point, right? That he's like another conversation we've had in our chat recently in our when we talk in our Discord channel about Neanderthals and they're not the progenitor of the humans, but they are a totally different race, right? And you can make the argument now that, like, in this game or in the real world even, that the android is not an advancement of mankind, but it is a completely new race, right? A new race that is ready to take over, and we have to be willing to say, do we want to be a part of this? Do we not? How do we handle it? Do we handle it positively, negatively? And a lot of movies show we handle it negatively, right? That's kind of what that's what the movie world is about. That's the Hollywood version. Is humanity says, "Oh shit, we have to destroy them," and then what ends up happening? Usually, we get fucking destroyed. So it's kind of cool in this game where we're being given the opportunity to say, "Do I want to handle it gracefully and figure out, do we coincide? Do we work together, or do we, label them as deviant and just go after them hard?" And that's kind of what's happening right now. So it's great, and this episode was amazing, and it did reinforce that, if nothing else, to me, that the dude, what's his name again, that plays Connor?
Brian Descartes.
Brian Descartes he should be in everything. He should be in every show. Every show that I watch, he should be in it. He's amazing. He is an incredible actor. That scene outside when they walk out and his interaction with Clancy when he's like talking with him, them playing together.
He's in Red Dead Redemption too. I didn't know that. He voices the local pedestrian population though.
Oh, really? So he just does kind of random voices? He needs to do more like
various voices. Yeah, This is like his first, he was in True Blood, one episode of True Blood as a guy
so he needs to star. He needs to star more because that was
or
awesome.
at least be a featured supporting actor or whatever.
Yes. Because that moment when he's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know why. Was, there you go. Proudstar's calling for he should be the new Batman. I would vote for that. I'd be all right with that. I would be okay with him being a new Batman.
I'm going to get you, Joker.
See, I'm going to guess that he can do other voices is what I'm going to bank everything on, because being able to do this is so specific to the role he's trying to play, but his ability to emote is at a level that it's kind of it's impressive. Like, it's impressive in a way that I don't. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It would be great to see somebody rise through the ranks based on their video game performance, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it was cool to see. What's the dude that just won an Oscar for Remy Malik, right?
Yeah.
Because he was in Until Dawn.
Right.
And at that point he was, he'd been in a few things like Mr. Robot, so you can't really say he was a new actor.
Right.
But it would be like, this is probably Brian Descartes' biggest role to date. Is this video game, and it would be awesome to see him go from here and then do big things. So somebody actually got discovered through doing video games, because acting in video games is so important now. You know what I mean? And you're seeing like Janina Gavankar, who you remember from True Blood and stuff like that. She's big into like Horizon Zero Dawn. She was a big fan of it. I used to see her on Twitter posting tweets like, "I'm playing this game, is amazing," and they put her in the fucking Frozen Wildlands demo. Expansion.
Expansion.
And
she was huge in Battlefront 2. She's like the lead character, and she's amazing in that. And actually, so Proudstar makes a good point, which is cool about video game, voice acting. Is usually you do it with no one else to play off of. It's like they just give you lines and they say, do it, angry, because you're talking to someone, because that person might be on the other side of the country, right? They're doing their lines in their.
That was the old model, though. I think. Do you think they maybe I don't know. A lot of these new video games seem to be more like they're really acting together, I would think that
No,
you're
see,
going to
that's
have
the thing.
these people
A lot
on
of
the same
times they are still not. Like, that's the amazing thing about it. A lot of times they're
Really?
still just given they're given the emotion, and they're saying, be angry or be happy or be whatever, and you
That's tough.
deliver your lines. Because the whole thing is, usually most of these guys, when you're looking at guys who are voice actors, they bring you into the room and they say, we have you for 2 hours, so we just need you to do all of these lines.
Yeah, but these actors aren't just voice actors. They're having the shit hooked up to their faces, like to their electrodes, and fucking. They're like, so this is Descartes' real likeness, like in this, and like Clancy Brown. That looks exactly like him. So their mannerisms, their move, they're strapping him up, and they're acting the scene through. I don't think that they're not just voice acting.
No. Well, I'm saying yes, they're also doing all of that, but I'm saying a lot of times they're still doing it in their, kind of by themselves in a room. They're just delivering lines. It's not like, they're doing a Disney movie where it's like, hey, we bring in the two main characters together and they act off each other. We're still not there yet for most of these games.
I thought that, like, for this or Until Dawn, I thought that they would be. In fact, in Until Dawn, I think I saw a featurette that showed them doing that. Just because these appear to be more like their actual motion capture.
Right.
Yeah, it's. But you're right though. The circumstance is not the same as a movie. This is tough. It's tough to really deliver quality acting this way, and yet you're starting to see a lot of great, amazing performances by people being done in this medium. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, and the fact that we're in a place now where this is only going to get more relevant, right? It's only going to become more important. I mean, I'm going to spoiler alert real quick for anyone who listens to Live from the Man Cave, because we're going to talk about Red Dead Redemption soon, because both of us, having beaten that game. But like, you go through and watch that and play that game, that is a movie, right? That's a movie. I mean, when you just take the story development of those characters,
probably a series. Probably a series, because you can't even fit all that into a movie.
Right. But that is one of my favorite stories I have ever experienced in my life. Like, in terms of a character that I watched from the beginning, where I thought I didn't know anything about, and I thought it was a blank slate, and I didn't really get whatever, if I cared or not, to this character that is one of the single most interesting and important and well done characters I have ever seen in any medium, right? And that I mean, not hyperbole.
I'm not quite there. I really like the story, but I wouldn't put it up there in my favorites really, but it's up there.
Right. I mean, like, Arthur Morgan is, from an acting standpoint, the dude who plays Arthur Morgan it's mind blowing to me.
He's done a really good job.
What he did, the character he played, the fact that you get to know him and love him and feel a personal connection with him is kind of incredible. So, like, to see that become the norm now in these big games is kind of awesome.
For me, or even like a Horizon Zero Dawn, where they created some shit that nobody's ever done before.
Right.
Like, even in a movie, nobody is. Like, a lot of these video games, you could trace it back to, that's this movie, that's this, but that one is fucking. It's specifically
it's
that.
Funny, by the way,
Horizon Zero Dawn
that you and I simultaneously both started playing Horizon Zero Dawn again, like, at the same time.
Oh, did you really? I didn't know you were playing it.
I'm playing it right now. I'm playing it right now. Same exact thing. And I started like 3-4 days ago, and I'm in the same boat where I was just like, I just kind of want to see this game from the beginning again because it's so good. And like,
yeah, and I started twitching it now. That's my thing. Right. That's kind of like my solo Twitch game now.
And Aloy, the actress that plays Aloy, is ridiculous. So we're going down a million rabbit holes. We actually don't have time because I do have to jump off like in the next 2 minutes. But it's cool that we are now at a place where the acting that these dudes put up are up against shit that we would see in a movie, and it's kind of awesome that a dude like Connor, that I have held a torch for quite some time now, we actually are like able to look at and be like, he is fucking legit. Like, he is a legit fucking actor. This is not hyperbole. He is good at what he does. And to see, that I missed all that shit. Let's move forward in the timeline and see, what happens
the next
from here.
choice. Unless you have something to say about the Kamski test, which we already kind of discussed. Our decision to spare Chloe, 85%.
Right. Was that you too? Then I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's what I will say: your version of this threw me off in a Hank way.
Okay.
Because and had things played out for me they did for you, I would not have spared her, because to me, right, to me, the way I was playing Connor up until this point was Connor's an android who's like, he's riding that. He's even developing almost like an android ego, right? The mission done, but then he's starting to see all this shit that's starting to wake him up, and then little by little we've been chipping around. He's the most hardcore fucking Scrooge of the fucking androids, and no, you will not deviate in your mission first, and then. Little by little, he's been seeing shit that's like kind of been chipping away at his like proverbial heart, right? And then he fucking dies, and then they just send out a replacement, and they implant the old Connor's memories, and this replacement, he's kind of like the way it played out. I was thinking, oh, it's not the same fucking guy,
right? It's
another
nothing.
android,
right, yeah.
and they just put his memories in him. So to me, that new android who hasn't had all this shit chipping away at him, I guess he's got the memories of it, then just comes in and like he has this like same like. So when I spared Chloe, it was that moment was the kind of quintessential, the final moment in the buildup of all of this other shit that finally made him like spare her, right? And like kind of like put her over mission, right? And then kind of seeing like, oh, new guy, and let's just implant the things. And then for me, I would have said, nah, fuck that. This new guy's even like ready to just fucking kill, because why not? So that's the way I would have seen it. But in reality, if you've implanted all his memory and all that shit, then this new guy kind of gets all those feelings and memories and understands it. So I understand it. It's just kind of like, to me, it made it a little anticlimactic, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
so I will say this, which is also, whether or not this changes your opinion on it, that's fine. I think it's kind of interesting to see us coming from different ends of this. My whole thing was Connor up to this point has been like, yes, he is get the job done, for any reason at any point, whatever it is, but at any cost. But more importantly, he's also kind of a superhero, right? He's kind of, you come across that he has a very high moral compass, and I've played that way, even to the point where like when I caught up to Kara but I let her go, like he has a moral compass, whether or not that is what Amanda wants or what the cops want, or that's just a Connor's own interpretation. I have played Connor where he has a line, he has a limit, and so this moment felt very much where Connor, who is still, he's just the rebooted version. Yes, he's 2.0, but he's still Connor. And so when Connor...
So he didn't even need all that shit that in the past. Like, if you had started Connor from the beginning of the game and gave him this decision, he would have still said, I'm not shooting her.
That he would just be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what is your end game? Why would you do this? This doesn't seem like it makes sense. Because it really didn't. Like, his argument was, he's like, shoot her, and I'll tell you whatever you want to know, but don't, and I won't. Like, it feels like a thing that Connor, especially, and it made me feel good that Hank was like, fuck this, Connor, let's leave. Because I was like, yeah, no, Hank, you're right. This dude is not making sense. This is not, it doesn't actually, from a like computational standpoint, as like a robot, what the fuck, like, murdering her, the thing that's gonna make you want to get attention other than you just being an asshole about it. And the fact that he also has like this code made sense, or not that he has a code, but the fact that he like is intelligently trying to solve this case, not just, he's not haphazardly just like, oh, murder this person and I move on in my case. Like, he's trying to solve the case but keep people alive. So like, it made sense to me that Connor would be like, no, this doesn't make sense. And Hank also has my back, who's also my theoretical boss, or at least one of two or whatever. Like, it made sense to me that he would say, fuck this guy. This guy's being an idiot. And so that reasoning would also like be a good explanation, right? But then instead of like that, if that was going to be the basis of it, then I would expect that after the shit goes down, I realize this is beyond your control, right? After the scene goes down, the Hank goes, "Why didn't you shoot her?" Then he would have said, well, because the guy was being irrational. Right.
That Connor would have had that kind of like, self-assured response. But instead, he just kind of freaked out, like, I don't know, I couldn't do it. And that's a very different thing.
Right.
So like this was a moral dilemma for him that he knew, mission first, he's supposed to get that guy to talk, and he still couldn't do what the guy said.
So that actually is, the funny thing is that the game storyline of why he couldn't shoot him was more in line with CraigMakk's reason why he couldn't shoot him. He couldn't shoot her, whereas my reasoning was more for Connor. So it actually worked out well for me because I didn't expect it to be that reason, but I like the fact that that was the reason because it aligned with my personal kind of like, no, I'm not going to kill her. What are you talking about?
Right.
But it wasn't my reason for Connor. Like my reason for Connor was much more kind of, character driven and more pedantic. Like he knew what he was doing because it made sense. So it was actually kind of weird. It was like one of those weird where it works out in a way that you didn't really expect. But it also led to one of my favorite, interactions of him, being able to act and kind of show why he couldn't do it, which I love that too. So it was a cool one. That was cool.
The last thing I'll say is because he reacted that way in the end, it showed me that to me, at least what I saw, and you may see it different, and your opinion's more important because you're the one playing them, and but to me, it kind of gave me the thought that, this is still Connor, despite the fact he referred to himself as his predecessor just as a convenient term for the human that he was into, like a way for Hank to accept it better.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But I mean, when you take somebody's thoughts, memories, and all that stuff, and then you just put them in a new shell, then arguably, humans, we believe in this, we like to believe in it, or some of us believe in this thing called the soul, which means like when you kill my body, my soul is stuck in that body, you don't just stick my brain into another body, or stick my memories on a chip, right? Like Black Mirror style, where now I'm in a computer program and I'm still somehow alive. Like, no, that's just memories that you stuck in a computer program, right? But for Connor, no, you took my memories, you took all that stuff, you put in a new thing, like that's me. I am who I am, and I still remember all that shit, and I call myself the predecessor just as a convenient term.
And the last point I will make before we move on is as somebody who I don't really have like a connection to like the whether or not the soul is a thing or not. Like I'm not, that's not a thing I'm really necessarily, personally, I have no conviction on that, I guess the easiest way to say it. Mm-hmm. But if you take all of my thoughts, 100% of my thoughts, and insert them into a new body, his computer, or a new flesh and blood body. What doesn't matter, whatever it is. That's me. Like, because that is, I'm not my body. I'm not my legs. I'm not my arms. I'm not my, I'm not my chest. I'm my memories and my understanding of the world. Right. So if you insert that into a new body, you could put that into a female body. Right. It's still me in every conceivable way because I'm made up of my memories, my thoughts, my beliefs, my whatever, and that's all.
Really scary for knowing that Alzheimer's exists in that case, right?
Well, of course, because then you're not you anymore, right? That's kind of what we all know is like is. Would you rather be stuck in it? Would you rather get a disease where your body dies but your brain stays alive, or where your brain dies but your body stays alive? Right? That is a thought people have battled with for 1,000 years, because most people are like, if I'm going to have that happen, actually I don't know. I'm going to roll that back. I don't know what most people would think, because some people would say, I'd rather my body just die because at least I'm still myself stuck inside there. But there's other people that would say, well, if I'm going to be unable to do anything, that seems like being stuck in a tomb, right? If I'm going to be stuck in a tomb, just kill my brain. And if my body is still alive, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm still shitting and pissing.
Perverted version of Sophie's Choice.
Right, absolutely. And so that is like that's kind of an amazing decision to make, because it's an impossible decision to make. And so this game bypass that by saying this shit just happened. He refers to himself as the new version of him, but he's, in all intents, he's still him. He's him. And the fact that by the end you're no longer thinking about him as Connor 2.0, you just think, or at least I did. I just thought about him as Connor. Like when he had that emotional, like, I don't know why I didn't shoot her. He was Connor to me.
For me, and I think it's your background that except because of what you said, right? You're an atheist, and you're agnostic about the existence of a soul. So I think it was easier for you to do. And like for somebody like me who's got more of the hang-ups of like I like that the Hank character was there to counterbalance and go, fuck you. who the fuck are you?
Right.
And then when he saw him still act like, like he was
Connor,
like it's him again, I think that you won him back a little bit. But I mean, and again, remember you've complained about and like you don't like it when David Cage goes heavy-handed. This is a topic that you and I could discuss for 3 hours easily, just on the philosophy of what makes somebody alive. What are you really? Are you the collection of your memories, or are you a soul? All that stuff. And he touched on it just enough to enable a discussion like this to happen, but didn't deviate from the storyline and all the tension. He used it as like a tension surrounding the main storyline. I thought this one was so well done. I was really, really.
It was. So this, of all the times where I have shitted on David Cage for being a poor storyteller, this would be one of the times where I feel like he redeemed himself
and totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah, right. He did. He made a strong push towards, character storytelling in a way that is, in a way that's difficult to do, and is when it fails miserably, and that was the opposite of failing, right? Like that made you enjoy both of those characters far more. It made you feel connected to Connor 10 times more, at least if you're me. It made you feel like, yep, he's back. I love him. I love everything about him. And I love the fact that they were able to take, that dynamic that could have gone poorly, and they were able to say, like, no, if we make him be, well written and well told, and we, play on those the heartstrings of, are you still Connor or not? Like you said, you're a little bit more not defensive, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're a little bit more questioning on, is this still Connor again, or is this Connor number 2? Whereas to me, I'm like, yeah, no, this is definitely him. Like, it clearly recapped everything that I felt Connor would believe. You just redid it so that I feel 100% that he is just Connor again in a new body. That's kind of cool, right? Because we get to see it from two different ends of the spectrum and decide how we want to handle it from there. So, I don't know, this is a good one, man. I was very excited about it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to real quick say, I'm going to dive through the rest. So, I after sparing Chloe, there's obviously the upper pendulum we could have gone, which none of us chose, but I left Kamski's house, and Hank thought Connor made the right decision. 85% of people.
Me too.
So basically, both of us made Dad happy, which I feel good about. And we'll see what happens next. But
yes, sir.
I guess the thing I learned from all this, I'm super excited that fucking Connor's still alive, because I really thought he was dead for a minute. So this is amazing.
I'm glad you didn't miss this episode, because I feel like I would have been describing this to you, and you'd have been like, "Fick, I missed it."
And you actually did not know, correct? You did not. You were not sure if he was going to be back.
I didn't know if this was. No, I didn't. I didn't know, because he didn't die in mine. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how it played out. So
right.
Proudstar got to see, that, what happens while making fun of me and freaking me out about thinking that Connor was dead. The two of us had, and had no idea how it was going to play out. So that's true. Yes, right. Proudstar was the only one that knew. And Serious asked you not to tell. Oh, so Serious says you told him not to say shit. So good call, man. Thank you. Well done. That was awesome. And I did not go dark because of Titans, although as soon as I hang up, I'm going to jump on Game of Thrones, then possibly Titans, then possibly back into this again, because now I'm too fucking excited to see what happens.
How about after GOT, we try to get back the next one on this one?
Yeah,
goes back to
Marcus. We'll probably end up doing that. Did
you guys see Us on Friday, by the way?
No, plans.
You missed it?
Changed, yeah.
Okay,
plans changed at the last minute, so I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can see it. Otherwise, I will keep you posted. I was very excited to see it, but yeah, it was more of a, time got away from us. Look, we went to a speakeasy where they were serving bourbon. Things did not end the way we expected them to. But anyway, dude, thank you. This has been an awesome show. This has been a great episode. We went longer than I thought we would, and I'm probably going to get yelled at, but I'll figure it out. And hopefully we'll be able to do it.
Hopefully she doesn't shut you down for after.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, on that note, let's kill this.
On that note, let me play us out.
Yes, good call. All right, dude. On that note, it's been an awesome episode.
And on the back of the T-shirt, live for the main game.
Is it really going to be dun 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 on the front?
Yeah, let me play us out. Dun, 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 and little musical notes, and then on the back of the t-shirt.
Jess, sidebar. When are we doing another full-on live from the man cave?
Let's fucking do that shit as soon as we can. As soon as I can get down there.
We're doing it. Everyone heard that? That's happening. We're doing that very soon. You have a new live from the MCU coming out very soon.
Coming, right?
So that's going to get dumped out very soon. So we have an ETA on that of a couple of days. So enjoy that.
Yes.
We're going to be doing a live from the man cave episode soon.
That one gets fucking crazy.
Oh, can we say like it goes off the rails? That's acceptable to say to people, right? That really goes off the rails.
I feel like it always goes off the rails though, and that one is even more than that. Like that one goes like onto like another floor. I don't know.
It's a whole new. It's actually not on the rails anymore. It just turns into an airport. It's not a train anymore. All right.
Yeah, it's a fucking plane.
It changes transportation altogether. So enjoy that shit. It's going to be coming out soon. It's going to be insane. We got our new live from the man cave itself. That's going to happen soon. We're just going to come down, and we have a lot of shit planned for that. That one's going to be.
Yes.
That's going to be off the chart. So be ready for that.
Cracking.
So on that note, man, thank you. This has been a good one, and I will hopefully we'll be doing another one in the next hour and a half or so. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
All right, bro.
Welcome
Thanks,
back.
Prodstar, for joining us.
Thank you, Prodstar. Peace, everybody.